The NBA has seen legends rise to greatness, but some never got the chance to finish their story. From Reggie Lewis, whose sudden passing ended the Celtics' future hopes.
I'm not normally an emotional person, Cedric, but when I heard about Reggie, I teared up. Yeah, that hurt.
To Dražen Petrović, who died right after dropping 30 points in what became his final game. To Malik Sealy, whose promising career was cut short in an instant.
She's like, Malik's dead. And when she said it, it felt like time had stopped.
These are the stories of NBA players taken from the game at the height of their careers. Reggie Lewis. Reggie Lewis was supposed to be the bridge between Celtic eras. Born on November 21st, 1965 in Baltimore, Maryland, Lewis attended Dunbar High School alongside future NBA players like Muggsy Bogues. He went on to Northeastern University in Boston, setting the all-time scoring record with 2,708 points. Drafted 22nd overall by the Celtics in 1987, Lewis became a key player, earning an NBA All-Star selection in 1992 and averaging 17.6 points per game over his 6-year career. He was seen as Larry Bird's successor. The beginning of the end came on April 29, 1993, during Game 1 of the Celtics' first-round playoff series against the Charlotte Hornets, when Lewis collapsed on the court in the first quarter after scoring 17 points in 13 minutes. What followed was a medical controversy that may have cost Lewis his life. A team of 11 cardiologists at New England Baptist Hospital diagnosed him with focal cardiomyopathy, a serious heart muscle disease that could cause irregular heartbeats and heart failure. They advised him to never play basketball again. But Lewis sought a second opinion. Dr. Gilbert Mudge at Brigham and Women's Hospital announced that Lewis had a normal athlete's heart with a benign condition called neurocardiogenic syncope, a fainting disorder not considered life-threatening. Mudge cleared him to return to basketball.
So after the game, I said, Reg, come here. For the next 2-3 weeks, man, just go out there and just play. Because the coach can't even substitute for you. Hell, we're all going to play 40 minutes because we have nobody left. And he had 22 points in the first half of the next game.
On July 27, 1993, during an off-season workout at Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts, Lewis collapsed while shooting baskets. He was rushed to Waltham Weston Hospital at 5:41 p.m., where doctors worked for over 2 hours but pronounced him dead at 7:30 p.m.
I'm not normally an emotional person, Cedric, but when I heard about Reggie, I teared up. Yeah, that hurt. I really got emotional about that because he was like an extension of my family. Because we were teammates.
The death certificate stated that Lewis died of sudden cardiac death due to myocarditis caused by an adenovirus type 2 infection. The viral infection had scarred and enlarged his heart, making it vulnerable to abnormal rhythms.
And as you know, teammates is like your second family because we spend so much time together. And so that really shook me. You know, matter of fact, I still think about Reggie. Two deaths that really shook me, getting off topic a little bit, was Reggie and Moses Malone. When those two passed, now that rocked my world big time.
Lewis was just 27 years old, leaving behind a wife and young children. The Celtics retired his number 35, and a track and athletic center in Boston bears his name. The next player was basketball's Mozart, an artist with the ball who helped pave the way for European players in the NBA. Dražen Petrović. Born in Croatia, Petrović first played in the NBA in the 1989-90 season with the Portland Trail Blazers before becoming a star after being traded to New Jersey in January of 1991. Known as one of the hardest working NBA players and one of the league's greatest outside shooters, Petrović was at the peak of his career. In the 1992-93 NBA season, he averaged 22.3 points per game on 51.8% field goal shooting, 44.9% from three-point range, and 87.0% from the free throw line. He was named to the All-NBA third team and was also a member of Croatia's silver medal winning Olympic team in Barcelona. On June 7, 1993, at approximately 5:20 p.m. on a rain-slicked highway near Denkendorf, about 24 kilometers from Ingolstadt in southeastern Germany, Petrovic's life was cut short in a car accident. Petrović was a front-seat passenger in a red Volkswagen Golf driven by his girlfriend, Clara Salanci, a 26-year-old German model and former basketball player. Another passenger, Hilal Edebal, a 23-year-old Turkish basketball player, was also in the car. The vehicle swerved out of control on the wet road, slammed through a median rail, and collided head-on with a trailer truck. Petrović, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was killed instantly due to significant head trauma.
I just got done shaking his hand a few weeks ago after our postseason physicals, and then you get a phone call saying that no more shakes from Draž. And I know a lot of times they say grown men aren't supposed to show their emotions, but it's very difficult for me to speak about it at this time.
to finally get to that point where he was showing everybody what he could do and the type of player he could be and have his whole future ahead of him. And, for him and his family and friends to have this happen, it's just, it just seems almost cruel. He was such a terrific guy.
Petrović had just played for Croatia in a qualifying tournament for the 1993 Eurobasket in Wrocław, Poland on June 6th, where he scored 30 points in his final game against Slovenia. Instead of flying back with his teammates, he chose to drive with his girlfriend to Munich.
It was like a death in the family. Because I think one thing people don't understand, they think us guys in the NBA don't get along, which is absurd. We're very close. It's like a fraternity. And it's like somebody in my family passing away.
The Nets retired Petrovic's number 3 jersey on November 11, 1993. He was posthumously inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2002 and the FIBA Hall of Fame in 2007. At just 28 years old, basketball lost one of its most gifted shooters and a pioneer for international players. The next player represented everything good about professional athletics: Bobby Phills. Born on December 20th, 1969 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Phills attended Southern University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in animal science and was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Bobby wanted to be a veterinarian, not an NBA player, and it really wasn't until his junior year in college when he realized he might have a chance of making it to the next level, after being cut by the Milwaukee Bucks, who drafted him. 45th overall in 1991, he played briefly for the Sioux Falls Skyforce, before joining the Cleveland Cavaliers for 6 seasons, and later the Charlotte Hornets in 1997. Known as a tenacious defender, Phills averaged 11.0 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 2.7 assists over 9 NBA seasons. He earned all defensive second-team honors in 1995 to 96. Michael Jordan called Phills the toughest defender he had ever faced. The respect was mutual. Phills was known for his intelligence, professionalism, and community involvement. On January 12, 2000, shortly after a Charlotte Hornets morning shoot-around on Tivola Road near the Charlotte Coliseum, less than a mile from the team's practice facility, Phil's life ended in a car accident that shocked the basketball world. Phills, driving a 1997 Porsche 993 Cabriolet with the vanity plate Slam, was traveling at a high speed estimated at over 100 miles per hour and possibly as high as 107 miles per hour. He was driving behind his teammate David Wesley, who was also in a Porsche. Witnesses and police suggested the two were engaged in reckless driving, possibly drag racing. Phills lost control of his vehicle, which spun and veered into oncoming traffic. His car collided head-on with a vehicle driven by Robert Woolard Jr., 31, of Cornelius, North Carolina. Phills, age 30, was pronounced dead at the scene. The drivers of the other vehicles survived and recovered.
The fireman wouldn't let me go near his body. And so I pleaded with the guy, and I was like, look, I have to say my final goodbye. And he let me go. I held his hand, and I prayed with him. And I let him know that I was gonna take care of his kids.
Phills was survived by his wife, Kendall, and their 3 children, Brittany Dixon, Bobby Ray Phills III, and Kirsten.
I lost my husband. My children lost their father. The Hornets lost an incredible player. The community lost a great community leader and role model. It was a great loss.
On February 9th, 2000, during a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Hornets retired Phil's number 13 jersey, the first number retired in franchise history. Both of Phil's children went on to play college basketball, carrying on their father's legacy while honoring his memory through the Bobby Phills Educational Awareness Foundation. The next player has one of the NBA's most genuine bonds with Kevin Garnett: Malik Sealy. Born on February 1st, 1970 in the Bronx, New York, Sealy was a standout at Tollentine High School, leading his team to a 30, one record, and a state title. At St. John's University, he scored 2,401 points, second only to Chris Mullin in school history.
Malik had me wanting to go to St. John's and wear the red and be a Redman.
Drafted 14th overall by the Indiana Pacers in 1992, Sealy played 8 NBA seasons with the Pacers, Los Angeles Clippers, Detroit Pistons, and Timberwolves, averaging 10.1 points per game, but his impact went far beyond statistics.
One day, he asked me to go to dinner, and we went to dinner, and that's where the friendship started. And I started to confide in him a little more and talk and open up, and it felt good to have when I felt like a real teammate around me.
On May 20th, 2000, at approximately 4:07 a.m. CDT, the accident occurred on Minnesota Highway 100, just north of a construction zone in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Sealy was driving home in his 1993 Range Rover after attending a birthday celebration for his teammate and close friend Kevin Garnett in downtown Minneapolis. His vehicle was struck head-on by a Dodge pickup truck driven by Suk Sangwan Feng Sin, a 43-year-old man who was traveling the wrong way in the southbound lanes of the divided highway. Blood tests revealed that Feng Sin was legally intoxicated at the time of the accident, with a blood alcohol content of 0.19%, nearly twice the legal limit. Sealy sustained severe head and chest injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. He was just 30 years old.
I never forget that my aunt damn near like kicked my bedroom door in. And I just remember she was telling me, she was like, something happened to Malik, you know, you gotta get up. I just seen him. She's like, Malik's dead. And when she said it, it felt like time had stopped.
Feng Sin pleaded guilty to criminal vehicular homicide and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Tragically, he would be arrested for drunk driving again in 2006 and 2008, ultimately receiving an 8-year sentence for repeat offenses. The Minnesota Timberwolves retired Sealy's number 2 jersey in his honor. Garnett got a tattoo of Sealy's name on his right arm and wrote "To Malik" on his shoes. When traded to the Brooklyn Nets in 2013, Garnett chose to wear number 2 in Sealy's honor. The next name still sends chills through basketball circles nearly 4 decades later. Len Bias. Born on November 18, 1963, in Landover, Maryland, Bias was a 6'8" forward who dominated college basketball at the University of Maryland. He earned consensus first-team All-American honors in his senior year, averaging 23.2 points and 7.0 rebounds per game.
As a 6'8" dude in 1985, we had never seen this. In the 80s, we had never seen anything, a package where a dude who could jump like Dominique Wilkins but could shoot the ball as good as any 2-guard in the ACC.
On June 17, 1986, the Boston Celtics selected Bias with the 2nd overall pick in the NBA draft.
He jumped like Michael Jordan. He was cat quick like Michael Jordan, but he was 6'8". He had a vertical like MJ, but he was 6'8". He shot the ball better than Michael Jordan shot the basketball at the University of North Carolina.
Fresh off an NBA championship, the Celtics saw him as the future, someone who could extend the careers of aging legends like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. But just 2 days later, on June 19, 1986, at approximately 8:50 a.m. EDT, Bias died in his dormitory suite at Washington Hall on the University of Maryland campus. The cause? Cocaine intoxication, which caused a cardiac arrhythmia leading to seizures and cardiac arrest. The night of his death, Bias and his friend Brian Tribble woke teammates Terry Long and David Gregg around 3 a.m., and the group used cocaine for approximately 3 hours. At around 6:30 a.m., Bias suffered a seizure and collapsed. In the frantic 911 call, Tribble pleaded, "It's Len Bias. He passed out. His body is shaking. You have to get here fast. There's no way he can die. Seriously, sir, please come quick." The autopsy revealed Bias was otherwise healthy, with no underlying heart conditions or signs of long-term cocaine use. Many believe this was his first time using the drug. Bias's death had massive societal implications. It led to the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, often called the Len Bias Law, which established mandatory minimum sentences and created a 100-to-1 sentencing disparity between crack and powder cocaine. This disparity disproportionately affected Black Americans and contributed to mass incarceration. Just like Bias, the next player's death was as sudden as it was shocking. Jason Collier. Born on August 21, 1992 in Los Angeles, California, he had a notable college basketball career, playing at USC, UNLV, and Iowa State. After going undrafted in the 2015 NBA draft, Collier played in the NBA Development League before signing with the Atlanta Hawks. On October 15, 2005, in the early hours at their home near Lake Lanier in Cumming, Georgia, Jason's wife Katie called 911 at approximately 2:30 a.m. after noticing that her husband was having trouble breathing and had turned blue. Katie attempted to perform CPR while waiting for paramedics. When paramedics arrived, Collier had a slight pulse. He was rushed to Northside Hospital Forsyth by ambulance, but was pronounced dead on arrival. He was just 28 years old. An autopsy determined that Collier died from a sudden cardiac rhythm disturbance caused by an abnormally enlarged heart. Georgia's chief medical examiner noted that Collier's heart weighed 640 grams, approximately 1.5 times the normal size for a person of his 7-foot height. Despite rigorous NBA health screenings, Collier's enlarged heart was not detected in routine physicals. physicals. The autopsy revealed that electrocardiograms administered in 2003 and 2005 showed some indication of electrical abnormalities, though there was no evidence that Collier or his family were informed of any heart-related concerns. Collier was married to Katie for 4 years and left behind a 20-month-old daughter, Elizan. The NBA Development League established the Jason Collier Sportsmanship Award in his honor, and the Atlanta Hawks created the Jason Collier Memorial Trophy, awarded annually to the player who best exemplifies community ambassadorship. His daughter Ella, who was 20 months old at the time of his death, later honored her father by wearing his number 40 while playing volleyball in high school. The next player was a force of nature on the basketball court, but also one of the kindest souls in the game, Robert Traylor. Born on February 1st, 1977, Traylor was a highly recruited high school player who played college basketball at the University of Michigan. He was drafted 6th overall by the Dallas Mavericks in 1998 and traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. Traylor's NBA career spanned 7 seasons with teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, Cleveland Cavaliers, Charlotte Hornets, and New Orleans Hornets. His career was marked by struggles with weight and health issues, including heart surgery on his aortic valve in 2005. On May 11, 2011, Traylor was found dead on the bedroom floor of his oceanfront apartment in Isla Verde, San Juan, Puerto Rico. He had been missing for a few days, prompting concern from his wife, Ray Traylor, who was in Chicago at the time. While speaking with her on the phone, the connection was suddenly cut off, leading her to alert officials of the Bayamon Cowboys, Traylor's professional basketball team in Puerto Rico's BSN League. The reported cause of death was a massive heart attack, though some sources note that an official cause was not immediately confirmed. Traylor had a history of heart issues, including the 2005 aortic valve surgery and ongoing struggles with weight. He weighed over 300 pounds at 6 feet 8 inches.
So they one of my young guns, and it hurt to see that guy laying down. But I know that he's in a great place because that was a humble guy. One thing about Rob Traylor, he was a humble guy. He tried to help everybody, and I just had to come and pay my respects to him.
Traylor was survived by his wife Ray and their 2 sons. The Milwaukee Bucks issued a statement expressing sadness, highlighting his competitive spirit on the court and his gentle, caring nature off it, particularly in his work with the Special Olympics and school visits. Despite a career that didn't meet the expectations set by his high draft status, Traylor was remembered as a gentle giant with a generous heart who always tried to help others. The murder of the next player reads like a tragic crime novel, but it was all too real. Lorenzen Wright. Wright was a Memphis native who played 13 seasons in the NBA for teams including the Los Angeles Clippers, Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings, and Cleveland Cavaliers. Drafted 7th overall in 1996, he was a beloved figure in Memphis for his philanthropy and local ties. Wright earned approximately $55 million during his career, but faced financial difficulties after retiring in 2009. He had 6 children with his ex-wife, Shara Wright Robinson, from whom he divorced in 2010. Their marriage was tumultuous, marked by infidelity allegations, financial strain, and the loss of their infant daughter, Sierra, to sudden infant death syndrome in 2003. On July 18, 2010, Wright visited his children at Shara's home in Collierville, Tennessee. He was last seen alive around 10 p.m. when he left with an unidentified person. Shortly after midnight on July 19th, Wright made a 911 call from a secluded field near the TPC Southwind Golf Course in Memphis. The call captured him saying, "Oh," followed by approximately 11 gunshots, after which the line went silent. Wright was reported missing by his mother, Deborah Marion, on July 22nd. On July 28th, his severely decomposed body was found in a wooded area on Callis Cutoff Road near Hacks Cross Road by cadaver dogs. The autopsy revealed he was shot at least 5 times, 2 bullets to the head, 2 near the heart, and 1 in the forearm. The case went cold for 7 years until a breakthrough came in 2013 when Jimmy Martin, Shara's cousin and a convicted killer, offered information in exchange for immunity. Martin claimed Shara recruited him and Billy Ray Turner, a landscaper and church deacon with a criminal record, to kill Lorenzen. In December 2017, both Shara Wright Robinson and Billy Ray Turner were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. In July 2019, Shara pleaded guilty to facilitation of first-degree murder and received a 30-year sentence. In March 2022, Turner was convicted on all counts and sentenced to life in prison plus 41 years. Prosecutors pointed to greed as the motive. Shara received $1 million from Lorenzen's life insurance policy, intended for their children, but spent $970,000 within 10 months. Wright was 34 years old when he was murdered, leaving behind 6 children. The next player was a trailblazer who opened doors for Spanish players in the NBA, but his story ended tragically on Madrid's roads. Fernando Martín. Born on March 25, 1962 in Madrid, Martín was a 6'9" center and power forward known for his physicality, technique, and competitive spirit. Martín played for Real Madrid and spent one season with the Portland Trail Blazers, becoming the first Spaniard and second European in the NBA. With Real Madrid, he won 4 Spanish League titles, 3 Copa del Rey titles, 2 European Cup Winners' Cups, and other honors. Internationally, he earned silver medals with Spain at the 1983 Eurobasket and the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. On December 3, 1989, at approximately 3:20 p.m. on Madrid's M30, motorway Martín's life ended in a car accident. He was driving a Lancia Thema 8.32, a high-performance car equipped with a Ferrari engine boasting 215 horsepower. According to reports, Martín was driving at high speed when he attempted to avoid a puddle on the road. This caused him to lose control of the vehicle. The car skidded, crossed several lanes, flipped multiple times, crossed the median, and landed upside down in the opposite lane. There, it collided head-on with an Opel Kadett driven by Ricardo Delgado Cascales, a 29-year-old married man with a 4-month-old child. Martín sustained fatal injuries and was pronounced dead upon arrival at Ramón y Cajal Hospital. Delgado was gravely injured, suffering brain edema, and was hospitalized at the Hospital de la Princesa. He survived but faced a long recovery and was left with lasting physical impairments. Martín was on his way to pick up his teammate Enrique Villalobos before heading to the Palacio de los Deportes to watch a Real Madrid basketball game against CI Zaragoza. The game was postponed following the accident. Real Madrid retired Martín's number 10 jersey, the only number the club has ever retired. In 2007, he was posthumously inducted into the FIBA Hall of Fame. Martín was just 27 years old when he died, cutting short the career of a true basketball pioneer. Our final story is perhaps the most tragic of all, a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time with devastating consequences. Bryce Dejean-Jones. Bryce Alexander Dejean-Jones was born on August 21, 1992, in Los Angeles, California. He had a notable college basketball career, playing at USC, UNLV, and Iowa State. After going undrafted in the 2015 NBA draft, Dejean-Jones played in the NBA Development League with the Idaho Stampede before signing with the New Orleans Pelicans. He signed a 10-day contract with the Pelicans on January 21, 2016, and impressed enough to earn a 3-year, partially guaranteed contract in February. He started 11 of 14 games, averaging 5.6 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.1 assists before a right wrist fracture ended his season. On May 28, 2016, Dejean-Jones was in Dallas to celebrate his daughter's first birthday with his girlfriend, Crystal Graves, who lived at the Camden Belmont Apartments. According to his agent, Dejean-Jones and Graves had an argument earlier that night. After going out, Graves returned to her apartment on the 4th floor, while Dejean-Jones went for a walk. When he returned to the complex around 3:20 a.m., he mistakenly went to the 3rd floor instead of the 4th, and attempted to enter an apartment he believed was his girlfriend's. Dejean-Jones forcibly entered apartment number 1345 by kicking open the front door. The resident, who was asleep, was awakened by the noise and retrieved a handgun. When Dejean-Jones began kicking at the locked bedroom door, the resident called out but received no response. Fearing for his safety, the resident fired through the door, striking Dejean-Jones in the abdomen. Dejean-Jones collapsed in the apartment's breezeway and was taken to a hospital where he died from blood loss. The Dallas Police Department investigated the shooting, and no charges were filed against the resident, as Texas law permits the use of deadly force to defend oneself in their home. Dejean-Jones was 23 years old and the father of his daughter, Alicia Dejean. The tragedy highlighted how a simple mistake, going to the wrong floor, could have such devastating consequences. Dejean-Jones was described as a hardworking player with a promising NBA future who was deeply committed to being an involved father. Like this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more.